Where are you from?
Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. Shampoo Banana, Illinois.
And what was your first break?
Oh, my first break? I'm still waiting for it. No, just kidding. I did my first film because I was dating an Irish guy, and my friend from college, who is also a guy from Belfast, got me my first film, which was with Lauren Volkstein, who's now gone on to make extraordinary films. And we made a film where I was a guitar-playing homeless cowboy. And I remember I got my boobs out and I had an orgasm on screen. And the first time I watched the film was with my dad. And I thought it was going to be really cool. And, you know, to like be like, Mom, Dad, I've done something. I made this thing. And then I'm like watching this moment, this intimate moment with me and this other woman next to my dad. And at the end of it, we didn't look at each other at all during the thing. And at the end of it, my father is also an Irishman, was like, it's amazing! And yeah, so that was my first thing I did. And like, you know, the path of my parents encouraging me for years and years to come.
So what have you been in?
What?
What have you been in?
What have I done?
Yeah.
I started out as a... that was the first movie I did, but I was a street performer. I did movement dance things for years. I did Shakespeare in New York. And then I did a show called Unreal, where I was a wonderful lady named Faith on Unreal. I was on a show called Betas. And now I'm on Mr. Mercedes on the Audience Network, and it's it feels like a masterpiece. I think it's Stephen King and David E. Kelley, and it's this beautiful portrait of a serial killer and a detective. And in the story, I'm the serial killer's only friend. And I ride a motorcycle and have neck tattoos. And my name's Lou Linklater in the story.
How do you feel about this career?
It's simultaneously horrifying, unstable, maddening, and you have moments of intense and deep gratitude and awe that I get to play make-believe as a grown-up, and people give me money to do it, and I get to go onto these sets with groups of people who all they want to do is play make-believe. And we make up stories and we tell them to people, and then wherever you are out there, you experience something, and maybe we can all experience something together, and I don't feel so alone in the world, and we're all in it together. So, yeah, I like it.
How did you decide to become an actor?
It was my childhood game. It was my game when I was a kid. And so I always thought that being an actor was, like, a service job. And I thought that unless I had autonomy over my own art, like from, by either writing it, creating it, producing it, directing it, which is something I'd like to do someday. But, and I've done some of that already, but, I thought that unless I was the absolute auteur voice behind it, that it was some sort of like service job that I wasn't actually doing. And I've learned that it's not what's wrong with being in service to something. I guess I kind of learned that it's kind of cool to do something for something else. A little maturity in my life.
How would you describe your specialty or type?
I don't think I have a type. I think I can empathize with a lot of different people. I do, I definitely play a lot of genderqueer people, and I have since I was a kid. I played Bottom on in Midsummer Night's Dream. I was Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet. I was often placed in sort of gender fluid situations. Whether that says something about me or reflects something back to me personally, sure, why not? I'll take it. I'll take those reflections. But I also think it's fun and exciting to empathize and extend myself into states of mind that I'm not familiar with at all. I actually love that even more.
Who's your favorite actor you look up to?
Philip Seymour Hoffman is somebody that I really love. Penny Marshall is somebody who I wouldn't mind walking that path at all. She ended up directing, Big and A League of Their Own. I think, I like Meryl Streep. Doesn't everybody? Because she always makes it not about her. It's always about the story. Brendan Gleeson, who I work with on Mr. Mercedes, is like, that man, like, makes me feel good about my career choice.
What would your ideal job be?
My ideal job is this one, is this acting job. It's insane, and I could be employed one year and be unemployed the other, which makes it super hard to plan ahead. But I also wouldn't have minded. I have a degree in psychology, and I worked at a psychiatric center in Staten Island for a while. But you gotta, I don't think I'd want to. I don't know if you've ever been to a therapist, but I'm like, that job is, woo! I don't think I'd want to do that, at all. Sit around being like, how can I love and care and help you from a professional point of view? It seems really intense. And you'd have to have really good, clear boundaries, which is not something that I'm well practiced at.
Do you consider yourself to be lucky?
Shockingly so.
What advantages do you have?
My advantages? I'm born of two loving parents in a country not at war, and upper middle class, educated family. I have so many advantages, and I have so many entitlements that I try to become clear and aware of, so I know not everyone starts at the same starting point. And I think as a citizen, it's important to know how you have a leg up. And either, you don't get a prize for starting 10 steps ahead. What you should do is say, if I'm ahead in this way, I need to turn around and look at my surroundings and go, let's go, team. Everyone, let's go. and help and provide and for that. I do not think that any of my born advantages are of my own making.
Would you rather have a car or a diploma?
A car or a diploma? Is that what you said? A diploma. I would love, my father was a scientist. I feel like I went into college as a physics major. I always have this weird thought in my brain, I never had a plan B for this acting shit. And I was like, what would I even have a plan B? And I was like, would I go back to school for physics and become electrical engineering or some shit? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. If you're hiring an electrical engineer intern, I'm available. Seriously, though.
How do you feel about how interconnected the world is becoming?
I think it is the antidote to a dying age of fossil fuels, where the third industrial revolution is the what is it called? The Internet of Things. That's sharing and reaching out. I'm like, is there? Oh, it's a squirrel. A squirrel just like jumps on my. I think it's a. I mean, all right. Every great leap forward in technology comes with a great leap forward in human consciousness, and I'm very, very excited about this particular technology that's come around in the last 15 years and what that'll mean for human consciousness. And it seems scary and it seems like it's going to be awful and destructive, but I actually think that it is the antidote to our own destruction. And, the age of the feminine is coming through, where we're, in order to survive, we're actually going to have to care about some shit. And that's one thing that is inherently human, is surviving and adapting. And in order to do that, we're going to have to reach out and empathize and not dominate and wreck everything and drop bombs on people. And although that is a possibility, I realize we now also have the technology to drop terrible, terrible bombs on people. Anyway, I diverge. It's a complex subject. Just vote for women and black and brown people in this country, please.
What does the future look like to you?
What does the future look like to me? I am intensely hopeful and optimistic. I am like in my most intense depressive state of existence. I'm like at my core, like it's gonna be okay. Which is a weird thing to feel in the wake of intense sadness. But I feel like we're built for togetherness. And I personally have had a lot of crazy shit happen in my life. Lots of death, people taking their own lives, people dying suddenly, and the future is still amazing. Like, it's still a party, and it's incredible. And the most incredible thing is that the more you educate yourself about where you came from, the more that you can change your future. So I'm just in the process now of really trying to educate myself on how I got here and then figure out how I can change it. Because I do not think of myself as a powerless person. And so if you figure out how to change something, that's your future. That's my future.
How do you feel about having children?
I think if my partner, who's a dude, I'm in a heterosexual relationship right now, and have been for a long time. I think if he was a woman and I was a man, he would definitely be pregnant. Like, that whole pulling out thing is like, would not be my game. But I don't know, I got like good birthing hips or whatever. I'm tall. I could probably push a couple babies out. I like the idea of adopting a baby a lot. So I looked into that. And I like the idea that there's like, I think it's magical to, squish your DNA with someone you love and then make a thing that's like a reflection of you and your soul and all your ancestors and all that shit. But it's also super magical to like find somebody who already exists out, who needs like the epigenetical factor of influencing someone's life and then having that change who they are is also kind of amazing and magical. But I like, breastfeeding seems really cool. Or like spraying breast milk out of your breasts. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? Or like I don't know, like having, you know, I mean, I'm an actor, so I do have like some narcissistic tendencies. So like having something come out of my vagina, looking at it, it looking like me, it looking back at me, and me being like, oh, everything's right with the world, or whatever the fuck. Like that sounds kind of cool too. You know, I don't know.
What challenges do you feel the world is facing today?
We have more atomic weapons. We have a lot of destructive, you know, since World War II, many countries have developed enough weapons to kill everybody on Earth. So, right now we're in this place of the Great Peace, and part of the Great Peace came about because of the understanding, the deep understanding of the ability that we now have to destroy ourselves. It's like if you have a gun in the house, human beings have a gun in the house. And I think what's happening is we've had enough generations go by since World War II that we no longer understand that that gun can kill people. And so I feel like we're having a generation that isn't aware and understanding of the power that we've accomplished and possess. And so I think we have the tools to become hyper aware and hyper knowledgeable about ourselves and where our potential and possibilities. And I think, like I said before, you know, we have the technological antidotes to our prior warlike, destructive human nature. You know, we've been developing, especially since Roman times, a society that's hinged on dominance and war and imperialism and gaining as many resources as possible for the few, you know, few at the top, and everything's become very political. And we now have this very egalitarian system that can, and technologies that can create a different system so that we can, you know, keep thriving. And not thriving like dominating. I mean thriving like being like, hey, is everyone okay? Like, is everyone got some food, and like, are there babies dying? Like, let's handle it. Let's take care of it. Like that kind of that kind of mentality, as opposed to like, I will go into this place and we will take our resources for us and only us. You know, which is that idea that what you have is inherently yours and only yours. It's not. It's just not yours. You have to share it. It has to happen.
What are you most grateful for?
My mom.
What is your favorite way to communicate?
Physically.
What is your favorite book, film, and music right now?
I'm reading James Baldwin's collection of work in the compilation The Cross of Redemption. I highly, highly recommend that to anybody. I'm making music right now with my partner. He's a part of a band called The Brinks. And so we made our first song. And so I've been listening to some Patti Smith and some Morrissey. I don't know, I feel very shy about it's fun when you do something artistically different or new, because it feels like you're, I don't know, in middle school and you're like, have a crush on somebody and like you've just kissed them for the first time. That's how I feel about making music right now. Wait, but music, books, and what was that other one?
Film?
Oh, film? Oh, can that extend to television?
Sure.
I just watched, what's her name? Sandra Oh's Killing Eve. I'm like obsessed with the actress who plays the killer. She's so like, I recommend watching that show. And Mr. Mercedes, obviously. So, promotion? Something? I like how you're just filming me melting now. Oh.